I'm going to do mindful self-compassion. First, we'll start off by scooting your chairs back a little bit. We're going to do some deep breathing for about 2 minutes. All right, so we'll start. I let it go around first, and then I'll get started. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe out like you're letting out a balloon. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. 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 Okay, my name is Eieshia Reid-Overbaugh. I am a LISW. I have worked in the behavioral health system for about 16, 17 years, 15 years. I work with people who struggle with depression, anxiety, trauma. I work in relationship issues, etc. I work with individuals, couples, and families. I provide an inclusive practice where all populations are welcome. I want all people to feel heard, cared for, validated, and understood without judgment. So, okay. I don't work with kids under 10. I thought if I said all people, anyway. Okay, so today, I hope you guys leave with the understanding of what self-criticism and its impact on your health, know what mindful self-compassion is and its benefits, along with recognizing the 3 elements needed for mindful self-compassion. Self-criticism and its impact on your health, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We're pretty familiar with that. Although we probably don't want others to treat us like we treat ourselves. Because we can be really hard and harsh and mean to ourselves. We are kind to our friends, but not always exceedingly kind to ourselves, right? Okay. Self-criticism, what it is. Self-criticism is something we all do. When it focuses on a particular behavior, it can be helpful, such as, oh, I spent a lot of time watching TV last night, and I did terrible on my exam. I need to do different. You know, that, okay, it's good. But then when self-criticism is broad, I'm a failure, I can't do anything right, I'm not good enough, I'll never get better. This is when criticism is unhealthy. Where it comes from. Studies have shown that relationships and the attachments formed between parents and their primary caregivers, at an early bond often have a significant effect on our future, our relationships, and our sense of self. So the way we raise our youngsters, the ones we love. When parents, caregivers give children autonomy, encourage them to attempt things for themselves, and allow them to make mistakes without censor, children are more likely to develop positive self-confidence and grow up with a sense of security regarding their choices. And they make good choices. The physiology of self-criticism. When we excessively criticize ourselves, we launch the threat defense system, which causes our fight, flight, or freeze response. We feel threatened, and when we feel threatened, we feel stressed, and it stresses them, and the stress is stressful on the mind and the body, and it's exhausting. And chronic or excessive self-criticism contributes to health concerns such as depression, social anxiety, body image issues, or feelings of worthlessness. When things go wrong, we feel like failures, experience an increase in loneliness, guilt, or shame. Self-critical tendencies can also be linked to perfectionism, self-harm, and eating and food issues. With self-criticism, we are the attacker and the attacked. A chronic criticism is stressful and can have some seriously harmful effects on the body. I think most of us can attest to the way we feel when we are stressed, right? Stress impacts your health, it upsets your hormonal balance, depletes brain chemicals that make us happy, robbing us of our joy, and it can ultimately shorten our lifespan. Research shows that stress shortens our telomeres. Now, I did this with my daughter, and she put it together, and I said telomeres, and she knew exactly where to go, and I'm like, okay. But telomeres are the DNA end caps. You guys know too. I didn't. As we age, those end caps get shorter, and so when we stress, they shorten our telomeres. So defining mindful self-compassion. Self-compassion emerges from the heart of mindfulness. When we meet suffering in our lives, mindfulness invites us to open to suffering with loving, spacious awareness. Self-compassion adds, be kind to yourself in the midst of suffering. Together, mindfulness and self-compassion form a state of warm-hearted, connected presence during difficult moments in our lives. So what's the difference, compassion and self-compassion? Compassion is being kind to a friend in distress. And self-compassion is being a friend to self when you're in distress. This just sounds like self-esteem. Self-compassion is different from self-esteem, from the self-esteem movement. Self-esteem movement is to feel good about yourself. You need to feel special and above average. Self-esteem is based on constant comparison with others, which can produce ego-defensive anger, prejudice, and so on. Self-esteem is not around when you fail. Self-compassion offers a sense of self-worth without having to be perfect. And there are 3 elements of mindful self-compassion. There's self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness that are a part of self-compassion. Okay, self-kindness is for self-compassion. We care about ourselves and are kind to others, but we are hard on ourselves. Wait, sorry. but we are hard on ourselves. For self-compassion, we need to be kind to ourselves. Again, treat self like you would treat a friend in distress, saying kind things to self without judging, accepting self without judgment. Self-kindness is the feeling we get when a friend says kind words to us, and when we feel down. Is the feeling we can have when we say kind words to ourselves when we feel down. And it's cool. It goes with you. Yeah? You can't always have your friends with you, but you can have it. Okay. Okay. Common humanity is recognizing that all humans make mistakes. We're not perfect, and we have difficult times. To have self-compassion, we recognize that we are going to have hardships, and acknowledge our sufferings. We are not alone in our suffering. We all are imperfect. So, common humanity, yeah, we're all imperfect. We're gonna make mistakes. Sure, I'm blowing it up here a few times, but hey, I'm human, right? And mindfulness is choosing to pay attention to this present moment on purpose, without judgment. Mindfulness helps us gain awareness of our emotions, thoughts, bodily sensations, and behaviors, relationships, and environment. Okay, so I have a practice. So we're going to practice a mindfulness practice. All right. Study the Play-Doh. Take the Play-Doh container in your hand. Study the Play-Doh container, noticing the writing, the colors, the design elements. Just kind of looking at it. Yeah, there's some really cool ones in there. Okay, so now slowly peel the lid off the container and notice the smell. And what comes up to mind when you're smelling it?
Childhood.
Notice any associated feelings, memories, or other experiences when you play with the Play-Doh, or when you just smelling the Play-Doh. And the cool thing is I like is that it's the same Play-Doh when I was young, so it smells the same now. So all of us can enjoy it. All right, and then turn your attention back to the, experience, then turn your attention back to the Play-Doh. Feel it in your hands. And begin to knead it and work it. Notice the texture, the temperature, and whether there are changes in its flexibility as you handle it. So experience the Play-Doh without feeling like you have to create anything. Okay. And then so next, create what you choose with your Play-Doh. Create something that you like to. No judgment to what your creation is, just creating and not judging it, just saying.
Never an overachieving.
And just allow yourself to be immersed in your discovery with the Play-Doh. All right. So what was that like? It was like, what was, who said Christmas? Somebody say Christmas? Now, okay. When you're done, put your Play-Doh back in your container. And it's sorry, I got 30 minutes. So, but you can take it home. It's yours to take home. So now that is stopping, paying attention, and that is mindfulness. Mindfulness is slowing down and paying attention to what you are experiencing in the moment. Okay. And self-compassion focuses on what you need in the moment. That's what we just did. Some mindfulness. All right. The next is mindful self-compassion exercise. I got one other exercise. Alrighty. You can write it on a sheet of paper, and I'm not much for homework or writing, but if you want to write it on the sheet of paper, you can flip over the sheets that I sent and write it. So, alright, is everybody's Play-Doh away? So mindful self-compassion, our exercise. I'd like you guys to close your eyes and reflect for a moment on the following questions. Think about various times when you've had a close friend who was struggling in some way, had a misfortune, failed, or felt inadequate, and you were feeling pretty good about yourself. How do you typically respond to your friends in such situations? What do you say? What tone do you use? How is your posture? Now close your eyes again and reflect on the next question. Think about various times when you were struggling in some way. You had a misfortune, failed, or felt inadequate. How do you typically respond to yourself in these situations? What do you say? What tone do you use? Now finally, consider the difference between how you treat your close friends when they're struggling and how you treat yourself. Is there any difference?
Yes.
Mindful self-compassion is always having a best friend with you, a friend that is accepting with non-judgment or of your experiences. With mindful self-compassion, you experience more happiness, life satisfaction, self-confidence, and better health. And mindful self-compassion has the added benefit of being more mindful and compassionate towards others. Mindful self-compassion doesn't stop the pain from hurting. It helps it not to hurt as well.
Can you say that again?
Mindful self-compassion doesn't stop the pain from hurting. It helps it not to hurt as long.
Thank you.
And so this is the end. This was a quick overview of mindful self-compassion. Please understand it takes lots of practice. Okay? It doesn't come overnight. And it's not always very easy. We have been doing this a certain way. We have been doing things a certain way for so long. Habits are hard to break, but they can be broken. And then let's give ourselves a hug for being here today. And be sure to treat yourself with kindness.